This is Amanda, and I'm just jumping on here to do an energy update for the Recovery Collective. Let's say starting from Friday, the 26th through the 26th of February through Friday, March 5th. I've already done some of my shuffling off camera. So I'll just start by saying that the energy that is coming through is really light and positive and just has a much lighter feel to it than it has the last couple of weeks. So we're asking for a message that can be received, a message that can be heard, a message that can be integrated for the Recovery Collective, individuals who are on a 12-step journey, resonate with the God consciousness of a higher power. So we're asking for a message from the collective higher power, the collective higher consciousness about how we are going to advance in the next week. So again, I'm just going to say that this reading is posted on 12-Step Tarot, and that the energy, I'll start with this, the energy has been coming through with a message about not getting too bogged down in the process, meaning this type of spiritual growth is a lifelong process. The spiritual awakening that came into your experience as the result of having a spiritual rock bottom experience is now something that stays with you for the rest of your experience here on this planet. And I would also say that this is not even about I chose my words carefully in what I just stated, so not saying like that you are in this constant state of recovering, because I perceive that to say that we are constantly recovering is to indicate that that there's sort of like something wrong with us all the time. There's nothing wrong with us. We've chosen to be in this experience, to be, well, from one perspective, we've chosen to be in this experience and to have this spiritual awareness and awakening experience in this life. And for us, the catalyst of that was, in most cases, substance abuse, alcoholism, other types of obsessive behavior, basically using something that isn't God to take the place of our higher power. So the message here again is lighten up. You're on the positive side now. You're no longer moving further away from God. You are now moving closer to God. And yes, that's a journey. And yes, there's things that are in contrast to what you desire and in contrast to your wants. But you are moving towards the light, and that is a good thing, and you are supported by so much non-physical energy, source energy, God energy, ancestor energy, whatever you want to refer to it as. That is all here for you and surrounds you. And so that's a pretty sweet spot to be, considering where most of us came from. And so the card that comes out first to me indicates that some of us are holding on to our old ideas. And here's what's so interesting is I don't think that this might be about early recovery ideas, like old ideas about God, old ideas about powerlessness. But these things are persisting for some people into longer term sobriety. So the point being is that you're in a position right now where you're still holding on to some old ideas, and these old ideas are specifically related to your powerlessness, what you in fact have power over versus what you do not have power over, what you need to turn over to your higher power versus what you do not, how to navigate that. And there seems to be an area here where you kind of believe that, on the one hand, you might even be in denial, thinking, "Oh no, I'm fully surrendered," but you're not. So that's the message. This is about emotional balance. This is about drawing on experience. So what is making it challenging for you to surrender these old ideas, these control ideas? One is some sort of ideas about the level of control that you seem to think you need to have over your emotions, but also this is experiential. So you are, what I feel is that you've had the experience, you're just not tapping into it right now. Your sort of refusal to, it's like the forgetter. We talk about how we forget. You're forgetting that you've already gone through a high degree of surrender in other areas of your life, specifically your addiction areas, and you're forgetting that this will serve you in other areas. Yeah, exactly. So you're at a crossroads for sure, and you're just, like I said, you're forgetting. This indicates that you're not able to see your quote-unquote character defects. That shadow self is what is making this challenging for you, but there's another message that says you need to make a decision, right? Like, you need to make a decision. Your higher self is calling on you to make a decision, even though, so you have past experience of surrendering, but this circumstance seems like perhaps it's new territory. You have not had to surrender to this degree before. Yeah. Yeah. Funny too, because part of your resistance is like, I've done the work. You may even be telling somebody this, like, I've done the work. So, like, as if, I don't know, kind of like, that's supposed to be the answer. Like, I've already done it. But the truth is that if you're not shifted, it hasn't taken hold yet. So there's two things happening here. One is, yes, you have done the work, and so you know what the work is. You have experienced the benefit of it in the past, but you are not using it for this particular problem. Mm-hmm. It's kind of two, they seem conflicting messages, but they're not. So this will resonate with somebody, is that on the one hand, you've done this before, you've gone through this before, but on the other hand, it's new territory. So you have experience to draw on. I would say that the experience is in the act of having surrendered and then seeing the outcome of that. But in this circumstance, you're kind of having that, well, it won't work for this type of argument. Yeah, you're just in your head about it, and you're really trying to get away with something here. Like, you might even be a little bit like, this feels really troubling to you, and you might even be like, there's dishonesty here. I would say, I bet that the people around you are pretty aware of what needs to happen, and you are resisting it. So this is a message to say that though you think you are getting away with something, you are not. Okay, this is the second card that comes out that indicates that you have a decision to make. Made a decision, made a decision, made a decision, right? And this also indicates that that the decision is about trusting your higher power, trusting your higher self to guide you through this experience, that you aren't going to be left or abandoned, or that this experience is not different from others, meaning this is not the time where somehow God is like, okay, well, now it's time for you to figure it out, meaning now it's time for you to be God. It's time for you to manage. It's time for you to do these things. That is not the message, right? But you're kind of, there's if you were to really get honest, you would realize that you might be in that place. Yeah. I don't know. Are you like reading The Secret? Whoever you are, you're trying to like, I don't know what you're having. So there's a message here that there's like some other, there's confusion. Again, this is about confusion about you turning this over. There are a lot of spiritual tools at your disposal, a lot of life tools at your disposal. It's almost like because you have these things, you're thinking this is part of why you need to figure it out. And your higher self is saying, yes, those tools are at your disposal. And when this circumstance lines up and it's clear what you are supposed to do, it is for you to ask your higher self, your God consciousness, what is the next step? And those resources are available to you so that you can tap into them, so that you can utilize them to move forward, but not so that you can play God. Big energy, big energy. Okay. So you wanted this experience that is coming into your, that's happening right now. You may have even called into your experience like a new job, some new opportunities, some new things that are happening, and as a result of that, now this opportunity is what's making you feel like you have to manage things. You know, phrases that come to mind are God is your employer, and that the things that have come to you are really your higher powers. And so it's not that we don't have recognition for, well, I'm going to backtrack. The fact of the matter is that the good things that are in our life are a direct result of our higher power, the gifts, everything. And kind of giving credit where credit is due and remembering how you got where you are now. Yes. Okay, and the last part of the message is about going internal to seek this. This is about prayer and meditation, very specifically. This might be also about reaching out to a person who is known to you that has a high degree of spiritual, how do I say this? Their ability to surrender, their ability to go through the exact experience that you're going through right now resonates with you. You've seen them do it, and so you kind of want what they have, and you want to reach out to them and ask for help. And this is saying that's what you should do. Pretty simple message, but very clear and very powerful. You're just off track a little bit in terms of, you're not even off track. You're just having this experience of, it's a new experience, so you're not sure, or you've forgotten where your power lies. And you're starting to think it lies elsewhere in your doing, in your running around and sorting things out, in your quote unquote ability. And those are lovely things to have, but that's not where your power lies. You got to come back and go internal and do some meditative work. There's no big message here about like inventory or that sort of thing. This is really about prayer and meditation, and then letting that take you. This is about coming back to that God consciousness, in part because you need to make the decision to rely on your higher power in this area, and also because you may have an actual decision to make and you can't make it by yourself. Not successfully, not wholly, because it's not really by yourself. It's when you make a decision without God, you're making a decision with a fragment of your whole self. And so your unfragmented self, your whole self that includes your higher power, it's not going to be fulfilled by that, because it's only a fragment. And that fragment, we could say, is the ego, but it's irrelevant what we're naming it. The point is that it's not your whole self. And so this is about bringing in the higher power, so that when you're making this decision and when you're moving forward, you are complete. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. This is Amanda with 12-Step Tarot. There's links in the description about personal readings. And thank you so much for listening and for letting me do this.